Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to be looking at Exodus 14, the famous scene of the crossing of the Red Sea. Now, I think many people know this scene from the Charlton Heston Ten Commandments movie because it's a really cool special effects scene. And they did that even before we had CGI and all the cool special effects we have today. That was pure movie magic, what they did back then when they made that movie. But this story, this scene, even though it looks really cool on the screen, it's so much more than just special effects. So how did we get here? How did we get to the Red Sea to begin with? Well, in the last video, I talked about how God called Moses to lead the people out of Egypt because they were slaves. So God called Moses, Moses went to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said no. Of course he'd say no, because this is his workforce. These are his slaves. So in order to convince Pharaoh, God sends these 10 plagues upon Pharaoh and all the people of Egypt. Eventually, by the end of the 10th plague, Pharaoh finally says, enough is enough. Get out of here. He sets the people free simply because he doesn't want to deal with the plagues anymore. So the people leave, and they're happy. But Pharaoh quickly realizes that he just freed his entire slave labor force. So he wants to get them back. He realizes that he made a bad decision. So he sends his army with all of their chariots and horses and all that good stuff out into the wilderness to bring them back. Well, the people of Israel, leaving Egypt, come upon the Red Sea. And they feel stuck because there's no bridge, they don't have a boat, and it would take forever, pretty much, to walk around the Red Sea. So what do? They're confused. While they stand there confused about how to get to the other side, they hear these chariots and these horses and this army coming to pursue them. They feel like the proverbial stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't know what to do. Maybe you have felt this same way sometimes. Maybe God is calling you into a new future, but you don't know what it holds. The unknown is scary to you. It was scary for these people as they stood by the Red Sea. They didn't know what was waiting for them on the other side. They had heard about the promised land, but they didn't know when they were going to get there. They didn't know what God was up to. When you're in that situation, when your future seems scary and unknown, it's really tempting to go back to the way life used to be. And some of the people there by the Red Sea wanted to do exactly that. They wanted to go back to Egypt. Which sounds ridiculous because they were slaves, right? But they wanted to go back because they at least knew what life was like back there. Sometimes that's the way we think of our past too. Sometimes we forget all of the bad things that happened. We look at the past with these rose-colored glasses. We're very nostalgic. We remember the past the way it never was. And so we cling to this idea of what we think the past was like, and we want to hold on to that instead of going into the future that God is calling us to. How many times have you said or heard, this is the way we've always done it? That is a way of saying, I want to stay in the past and I don't want to go into the future that God is leading me to. The people of Israel there by the Red Sea had that kind of mindset. They knew God was calling them into a future, but their past was pursuing them and they didn't know what to do. So what did God do? God parted the sea. God gave them a way to enter their future. They walked across the dry land, and as Pharaoh's chariots and armies pursued them on the dry land, then the waves came and washed them all away. and the people sang and rejoiced on the other side of the sea. When you feel stuck, when you feel like God is calling you into some kind of future, but it's scary and unknown and you're not sure what's going on, remember, God will make a way. God made a way for those people there by the Red Sea, and God will make a way for you. There's your 5-minute Bible study for today. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.